Hello, welcome to another video by Help You Excel. Today I'm going to go over a universal lookup table and form for viewing and editing items in that universal lookup table. So if you're like me, you start creating a form and you don't want the user to be able to just type in a value for a state. You want them to choose from a list. Okay, same with maybe colors available, sizes, various things, right? So what I've done in the past is I would set up a table for each of those. So here's my state table, right? We're going to delete that one for now. Here's my size table. And you'll notice each of these, they're set up exactly the same way. I've got a primary key that's called ID. It's an auto number. I've got an item, which is a fairly short version, and then a description. And I do that to make my data entry easier, but then you can display a more user-friendly display. So, for example, in a product catalog, it's a lot easier just to let the user type L for large, X for extra large, etc. But then on a report or something, you can display a more user-friendly, spelled out what that is. Okay, the sort column. When you're dealing with something like a size, obviously you want the order to be small, medium, large, extra large, 2x. Well, you can't sort on the primary key because what if you enter things in the wrong order? Like you've got your list and then you decide, oh, we're going to offer extra small. Now, extra small is the last thing I entered, but it's the first thing I want in my list. Can't use that. I can't sort by item because then it's going to sort alphabetically. Makes no sense whatsoever. So I add another field that the only purpose of this field is to sort things properly. So that's going to be first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. So now when I sort these, my sizes are in the order that I want them to be. Okay. For some things, like a state, for example, you can sort alphabetically. That order makes absolute sense. So if you don't need the sort column, you can ignore it. Or for this example with state, I would usually just make the sort column all be 0. Because when I do the combo box, I always do the sort column as my first sort, and then item as my secondary, and description as my tertiary. So if all of these were 0, it would just sort alphabetically. But then I got to thinking, okay, wait, I am making the same table over and over again. And I would literally, if I needed to do something else like spice level or something, I would literally copy one of these tables, the structure, and then I would go in here and I would type in my new table. I thought, surely there's a better way to do this. So what I ended up devising is the universal lookup table. Everything about the setup is exactly the same. Item, description, sort IX, but I add lookup ID. And all that is it references back to the primary key on the lookup table. I make it not required, and I'll explain why in a moment. But let me just show you the layout. So this table now has all of my different lookups. So when I leave the lookup ID blank, that tells me this is a category of items. So this one, I wouldn't display it in a combo box typically. Okay, it's just telling me I've got this type of data is United States, states of the United States. Then here's my list of states. You notice they all have the same lookup ID. So when I go to feed a combo box, I can just filter to lookup ID 1. There's my 50 US states. Again, I'm going to delete that one for now. I can sort this alphabetically. I could manually adjust the sort. For example, let's say most of your sales is in the state of Iowa. You could do that, which would put Iowa artificially first in the list. Different things like that. And I'm going to put it back where it goes. Now, if I take the filter off, we can scroll down here. I've got other things. Look, spice level. Okay, so if I go down here, have I entered any for spice level? Yes. So if I filter where lookup ID is 109, there's my 3 different spice levels. Okay, so the way that looks in a combo box, it's pretty straightforward. I build my combo box just like I would any other combo box. Okay, I'm pulling it from a table. ID is my first column. I'm concatenating the item and the description. So you see them together. Sort by the sort IX, secondary by item, tertiary by description. And then I just put in a parameter, so I get number 1, which is the states, and there's my combo box. When I want to do something else, like color, the query is exactly the same. You can copy and paste. In fact, I copy and paste the query. All you have to do is change this parameter. If you need to know which one it is, you can do this. Say, I don't know which one is color. Okay, let's see here. Okay, color is number 89, so I'm just going to copy that. Go in here, and I'm going to say this one. Shut that off so you don't see it. There you go. So for this combo box, I want the color. If I wanted another combo box for something else, all you got to do is change that parameter. So now if we open this combo box and this combo box are both getting their value list from the same exact table. Okay. Now, another reason why I make that lookup ID column not null is you'll see in my relationships, I have a relationship back to itself. And if you've never done that before, it's pretty straightforward. For right now, I'm gonna delete this and I'll show you how I do that. Hide table. It's very easy. So I've drug in the lookup table. Just drag in the lookup table. Just drag it in twice. And I'm going to say, boom, enforce referential integrity. Now, the reason I have to make that field not required is that value, this lookup ID field, has to have a value that appears in the primary key somewhere. So I can't just say, okay, my categories are number 0 or something like that. And if I give it another record, it's going to mess things up. So I just make it not required. That way it allows you to leave it blank, and I know the ones that are blank then are my categories. You could also do subcategories. Like I could say, okay, I want the counties of Illinois, for example, and I could set up another one. And I could say, what is Illinois? Illinois is 14. So I could say lookup is 14, and I could say Illinois counties of Illinois. And now each of the counties is, I don't know the counties of Illinois. I have no idea. So now that's a sub value of the Illinois. And you can do as many sub levels as you want to do. Sub. I don't have my form set up right now. Oh, stop it. I don't have my form set up right now to where I can do subcategories, but you certainly can using this table layout. Okay, so that explains the table. Now, I also have a universal form that allows me to edit these values. So this combo box will pull in my categories. So lookup ID is null. If we run this, these are my different categories that are available. Okay, so you can select one. Down here, it'll populate the list that's in that category. Click on an item. It loads it up here. You can change it, hit save, and click new, add a new item to the list. You can click one down here, click delete. You can edit the group, and then that'll load the name of the group down here, the description, the sort order. Down here you can change that and then hit save. You can create a whole new group, which will add it to this combo box, and then you can go down here and you can add a new item. Okay. I have this form set up though, so it doesn't work right if you just load it straight. It's meant to be called from another form, so that's why when I actually load it, it doesn't actually function. It's not designed to be used that way. It's designed to be called from another form. So I'm going to not save my changes. Let's open this up. And there's different ways that I can open this form. Let me show you. I didn't show you that. So this is the code for the form. General. And we've got different properties that I have added to this form and different methods. So the biggest one is access mode. Okay, at the top here I've got a public enum. So edit mode, full control is 0, add only is 1, add and delete is 2, add and edit is 3, edit and delete is 4, edit only is 5, delete only is 6, and completely read only is 7. So if I go down here to my access mode, okay, it's a property. You pass in your form mode as my enum. And then I've got this select statement. So depending on what you tell it, so if you tell it full control, everything is enabled, nothing's locked. If I tell it add only, then the delete button is disabled, save button is enabled, new item is enabled. But then these are the fields that let you type in and make changes to the field. So I have them locked because it's add only. So this just goes through, sets up the forms depending on which access mode you open the form with. This is why if you just open the form without calling it, the access mode defaults to read only and everything is disabled. Okay, but if you, depending on how you open it, okay, so in this form up here I have a variable called item list form. I'm declaring it with events because this form does have events that I need to listen to as form. So that's just the name of the form. Okay. In here on the build, on the click event. So this one, when I open it, I tell it group ID equals 0. And what that does is it tells me that I want to be able to edit all of the groups. If I give this a group ID, then it limits me to where I can only edit the list of a particular group. So for example, if I want to only edit the states, I can pass to it the primary key for that state list. If I want to only edit the colors, then I pass to it that primary key, etc. If you set this equal to 0, then it lets you edit everything. I'm going to do that first so you can see what that looks like. So click it, opens the form, everything is enabled. I can go up here, I can click, okay, here's my level of spices. I can click on one, I can edit it, I can click in a new one. Okay, so you can add your different sort levels. Like if I want to make this, instead of 10, I want to make this sort level 3. Changes my sort level. I can delete items. It lets you do everything. Okay, it'll let you create a new group. Let's say I want to call this group, I don't know, counties. Save it. Automatically puts it up here to my county group. It's supposed to unload this. Not sure what happened, but that's okay. We're going to do a new item. So I got a little bit of bug here. It's not reloading my list to show me this one. So I'll have to work that out. This form is new. I haven't been using this form very long, and I just identified a bug. But anyway, you get the idea. I can go here to spice level, edit group, hit save, modifies it, okay, and close the form. Now, if you open the form a different way, On this one, I'm giving it group ID 1, which is the group ID of states, and it's getting its access mode from this combo box right here. Okay, I could manually set the access mode if I wanted to. For example, I could go dot access mode equals, and because I did a public enum, I get IntelliSense, and I can do it that way. Just to make this easier to demonstrate, so I don't have to keep going into the code, I put it in a combo box, so I can choose, I want to do full control for now. But because I gave it a group ID, when I open this, you'll see that top combo box where I could choose what group I want to edit, it's not even there. It's disabled. Okay, I gave it full control, so I can do everything I want to do. I can change the sort order, hit save, and now you'll see Iowa shows up in the top of the list. Save it. I can delete Iowa. It says, are you sure? Yes. Iowa is gone. Until I want to do a new one. Save it. Iowa's back. Okay, I can type in a whole new one. AB fake state. Sort order 0. Save it. Whatever I want to do, because I've got it in full control mode. Okay. Now if I tell it I want them to be able to add items only, but nothing else, opens it up, you'll see this is grayed out. I can't even click it. I can still look at it. Can't click it. All I can do is a new item, and I can save it, and then I can close the form. So if I want to be able to add and delete but not edit, you get the idea. Depending on the access mode that I choose, it will limit the user to whatever. And now if I go down here, this little dot, 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 the only thing different about the code in here is the group ID that I pass it. You see here, click, group ID is 1. For this one, the group ID is 89. That's the only thing different. And then it's getting its access mode from a different combo box. So this one gets its access mode from this combo box, and this one gets it from this combo box. So I can go in here and I can say read only. Now you'll see my list is my colors. I can click on them. If I try to change anything, I can't change it. No save button, no new, no delete. It's completely read only. If I change this to delete only, I can click on one. Can't change anything. I'm trying to type, nothing happens. No save, all I have is delete. Do I want to delete this? Sure, now orange is gone. Okay, so I always say I want to do add only. This list, I can't even click it. Orange. Make it sort 2. There you go. Close the form. So now orange is in my list. Wasn't there before. Okay, so aside from a little bug, I think you get the idea. This allows me to not have to create for every little lookup list that I want to do, and I want to let the user manipulate the data in that list. I don't have to create a different form. I don't have to create a different table for each one of those little things. Let me show you just a couple more things. I'm not going to save that. I mentioned that this form has events. So if you're not familiar, I'll probably do another video sometime that goes into events in more detail. But for now, this form, I've given it 3 custom events. One is just closing the form, and it passes out the ID that was selected at the time the form was closed. So if you wanted to set a combo box equal to that value or something, you can do that. One is just an item was deleted, and one is an item was saved. Again, passes to it the ID. So what I've done is this button here is it gets the ID either from one of two places. If this field is null, then it looks in this field. If that field is also null, then it returns a 0. Raise the event, passing to it whatever that ID is. Okay. The save button does all the save business. At the very end, raise event, pass to it the ID, so that's the primary key for the either modified or new, either way, this same code. Okay, passes that to that function, or sorry, to that event. And then lastly, raise event, delete item. Oh, I should pass to it. Oh no, for delete item I don't have a argument. I could create one, but I didn't. What that allows me to do then is in my calling form, no, which is this one, I can listen for those events. So for example, let's see, what did I call it? Item list. So if I go up here to item list, it will list my 3 events. So close form, this is how I'm making the form go away, because you'll notice on this form, I don't have a close button. I've told the control box to go away. You can right click, but that's not going to be obvious to the user. I've given them a button to be able to close the form. Okay, when you click that button, all it does is uninstantiates the variable. Okay, I could do something like this, which is not very practical. What's more practical is I could say what's the name of that combo box? Could do something like this. So I can go read only, close the form. The form was on primary key 9 when it closed, so that's the message box. And then you'll see it selected the combo box based on the value that had been selected. Okay, so again, the way I did that is I go here, item list form, choose the event. This was on the close form. Okay, and this event passes to it a value. There's also the save form, and I could again say message box PK and ID and oh come on, and was saved. Okay, so this event is listening for that save button to be clicked. So go here. No, I can't click the save button because I told it that I can't do that. Let's go edit only. Let's go down here and we'll add an S to Iowa's just because. Okay, primary key 123 was saved. I haven't closed the form yet. All I did was save. Now I closed the form. The form was on primary key 123 when it closed, and it sets my value here to Iowa's. And if I look in the lookup table, row 123, sure enough, that's the row that it was on. Okay, I'm going to change this back because I don't want that to be Iowa's. Yes, close form. Okay, so packed a lot into this video. Just trying to give you the idea of ways that you can make forms that are more universal instead of creating 12 forms. You know, if I had color, size, spice, gallons, I mean, there could be dozens of different tables that you're just using to feed combo boxes. Move all that into one. Get it right once. I've got a little work to do. You saw there's a bug. Get it right once, and then I can reuse this form all the time, indefinitely. Saves a lot of time in the long run. It does take a lot of time to set these things up on the front end, but you'll definitely see dividends in the long run if you try to think about how can I reuse this form, not just within this database, but in every database that I build. I'm going to run into a problem like this, and I can just import this form in from a template file, and I'm ready to go. And very quickly, I'm up and running. All right, if you have any questions, as always, you can reach out to me, paul@huxl.com. You can find me on my website, huxl.com. If you enjoyed this, be sure to give it a like. If you want to see more like this, subscribe to my channel. Thank you.